Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, this is Alex Bradley coming at you from Anything Geeky Reviewed, and I know it's been a while, but I'm hopefully going to be doing a lot more video reviews and impressions soon because I'm going to be building a new machine. But until then, I'm going to be showing you Star Ruler 2 today. It's just come out on Steam a couple of days ago. It's actually a sequel to the original Star Ruler. It's a fantastic, well, the original was a fantastic 4X space strategy game. It had a lot of open kind of sandbox elements, and it was quite complex for its time and very buggy on original release, but they did fix it very nicely. This is actually the sequel, and it's in early access, but I have to admit I've played the tutorial so far and it plays beautifully. I didn't have an issue. The graphics look superb. The whole gameplay, the way it moves, it is slightly simplified, but it works absolutely lovely compared to the original. A lot of the complexity has been taken out or simplified, which may not please everybody, but let's get on to it. Let's start a brand new game, and hopefully I'll be able to show you 20 or 30 minutes of the gameplay. Okay, so this is my race, and that's my colour. I guess I'll have to have that, and no red there. And you get to pick a sign, just like most of these kind of games. Let's pick, I usually go for something that symbolises a Federation badge or something. My race is called the Lum, and apparently we have the hyperdrive. And this is basically the way that races travel around the system. So I'm going to stick with hyperdrive for now, but some of these look interesting. Fling beacons and slipstream. Now gates, I have seen that because on the tutorial you do have to destroy a gate. So I'm presuming that, yeah, let's have some fling beacons. No? Maybe not choose them? Maybe not, okay. Yeah, let's get on with it. Simple map, system count 60. No, we don't want to flatten it, do we? And then go. Like I said, from what I've played already, this is just simply the UI is far superior to the old game. The game runs a lot better. As you can see, I'm zooming in and out, and my machine is about to be upgraded. Although it's not a sluggish machine itself, it's just running lovely. So, start off, star map. The little grey border is actually the area we can trade and create trade lanes within. Now trade lanes in this are vital. They're absolutely vital because each planet is now leveled up individually. Instead of building buildings as you would on the old game, you can still do that. As you can see, we have a little kind of world map like Masters of Orion or Ascendancy, but you can build buildings, but they are rather expensive. You only really want to build them if you have to. Most of the work is actually done by the civilian population. Now, as you can see, this is a level 1 planet. Now, there are 4 levels to each planet. Let's have a look. Each planet basically needs food and water to become a level 1, otherwise they start off as a level 0. So as you can see, we've got water here, we have some fruit and plastics. So, to make our main world here a level 2, we'd need any other food type. So an extra food type, so these fruits we can divert there. So if we actually right click on there and colonize, boom, there we go. The planet starts colonizing that planet. It's going to start sending little ships. I presume that the enemy can intercept these because I'm presuming you can colonize planets in different systems. So instead of actually having to build colony ships now, you can actually colonize directly from your own planets, which is, I've not actually seen that very often. I don't actually think I've seen a 4X game that's done that before. It's usually done via a colony ship. So that's quite a cool little mechanic. Let's have a look around while we're waiting for that. And as you can see, the UI has changed drastically from the original game. The original game, compared to this, is actually quite an ugly game. It worked brilliantly and had great ideas and features, but it just didn't really blend well with the UI. Now this UI is far superior. As you can see, we've got the planet details we've got currently clicked on here. And I love the way that you can zoom out and you can see little kind of food icons, water and plastic, but as soon as you zoom in, it kind of goes straight in to that kind of organised look. Yep, so the actual UI is actually quite smooth now. Instead of having like different menus, I mean, you did have a kind of little menu system up here before. Instead, it's now done kind of more like you'd find Google Chrome, the browser. It's all done in browsing panels kind of thing, and they can each be closed down. You don't actually have to have any of them open. I don't even think you need to have that all open. Let's have a look. There we go. Yeah. You don't have to look at the Galaxy at all, and the beauty of it is you can open as many tabs as you want. As soon as you do that, you've got a choice of different tabs that you can open. And the beauty of this as well is that certain of the decisions, as we had to do in the tutorial, that's colonised. So let's colonise the plastic world as well. Do we have enough population? We have 3. Yes. Let's colonise that one. The beauty of this is certain actions actually take time. So when you're doing certain rights, like if you want to annex an enemy system without having to conquer it, you can actually kind of propose that to them, and you'll have to argue it with them using cards and debates. And if you win within the Senate, you've got like a little Senate, almost like Masters of Orion. I know 3 had it. I'm not sure. I didn't play a lot of 2. Almost like a Senate in that, where you had to try and basically get your point across, and you had to win by Senate power, basically, outvoting the enemy. But while you're doing that, because it's got a 3 or 6 minute timer on that sort of thing, you can actually kind of jump between that and the Galaxy View and the research. You can be jumping straight between. There is actually an option that if you are away from the Galaxy mode, I noticed it in the options. If you're away from the Galaxy mode, a game can actually pause itself if you prefer that. Automatically pause when viewing other tabs, which is kind of cool. So if you did want to pause the game and you didn't want to miss anything, you can always just pause it from up here. So we can see that the colony ships are landing on the planet. I think they just disappear. Yeah. As you can see, the graphics are a lot better than the original. The original didn't really have a lot in the way of graphics. We've also got asteroid fields in this, which I've noticed. Let's have a quick look around. There should be a couple. There we go. They've got one over which has got volatile materials in it. I don't actually know how we can mine these yet, but that will be very interesting when we can. So we've almost done this. There's so many cool changes that they've made to this game. I mean, this is just early access, and I'm already having great fun with it. It's actually one of the few early access games I've found that's actually playable, enjoyable, right from the get-go. And the tutorial, I have to admit, is very good. I'm thinking that the tutorial they've currently got is probably going to be their final tutorial, which is good. So, now we have a world with some fruit, and we have a world with some plastics. So, what we need to do with those now, to get this planet to a level 2, we need to export both of these. So, we select the planet, go over our home planet, we export fruit there, and then we do the same with plastic, and bingo. And now it's saying we need any level 1 resource. Interesting. I thought that's what we were just requires one level planet to produce. Interesting. So if we divert food to the plastic world, and we divert water to the plastic world, that will then hopefully, once those trade routes are put in place, let's cancel that. I haven't actually colonised that world yet. Okay. Yeah, so basically, certain resources, by the looks of it, actually need certain levels of planet. So this planet can't produce plastics without currently being a level 1. Yeah, so that's actually kind of interesting. Obviously, now that we need two worlds to make that a level 1, we're going to have to kind of find someone else to give us the extra food we need. Because it needs any extra food as well as a level 1 resource. So we can't divert this food without making that a level 0 again. I love the fact actually I've actually made that planet export a good it's got before I've actually colonised it. That's actually really cool. So just little things like that allow you to kind of just get on with it, and not have to worry about what order you're having to do certain things in, which is absolutely brilliant. The other thing actually I'll quickly talk about is the budget. In obviously the original game, you kind of produce materials, and whatever you could use, you used normally locally. Anything else you could export to your galactic bank. In this one, it's actually slightly differently. In this one, it's mainly based around money rather than resources, and that money basically gets given to you every 3 hours. 3 minutes. God. So every 3 minutes you actually get a brand new budget, and as you can see, that's going to be the money we're going to be getting in a minute and a half. and that's basically based on. Oh, we can convert things to it. That's actually based on what planetary incomes, as we can see here, we're getting taken against our planet upkeep and our buildings, and then eventually our fleets. Actually, while we're at it, that's now creating a level 1 world. Excellent. So now we can export that plastic to Zolok 1. Now, what we need now is some food. So we need another system, and we're going to need a scout to do that. So let's build a scout. Exploration. Interesting that we've actually got them kind of based into 2 different sections. You've got military and exploration. Be interesting to see what other exploration there is. Other than that, though, I haven't noticed. See, food obviously gives the ability to have overall population, but water doesn't seem to do much, and it doesn't seem like most of the resources add a lot of extras. I mean, this pressure is supposed to be. I'm trying to remember what it said about pressure now. It's something to do with improving the civilian kind of building complex and making them work harder, kind of thing. I think we could really do with some research. That's going to be 300k and 200k upkeep. Now we're not getting that, are we? We're getting kind of, let's have a look. We're getting almost 1 million credits with the construction costing us a bit. The building's currently 200k, so I'm presuming we've already got a building, factory, yes, generate 3 labour. So that's why it's only taking 1.5 minutes to make a scout. That's going to take 3 minutes to create. Go on then. Let's have a look. There we go. Under construction. So that's that out of the way. A little bit of waiting, but it's nowhere near as much as the original game. As you can remember, if anybody played it, the original game was quite a slow-paced game. This is still kind of the same sort of pace, but I think it's a little quicker. I think it's actually quite nicely paced. I've always kind of got something to do, which is nice. Let's have a look. Probably going to do some metallurgy. As you can see, the research tree has actually changed quite a bit. It's actually got a little bit more complicated. You've got obviously your different trees that you can explore, but all you do is click on one of them to start researching it. Use 40 points to go up to the next level, and obviously you can produce a certain amount of points per minute depending on your research level. Now, what's interesting about this is that not only does it differ from the original with the kind of almost like a tree look to the original, but you also have available insights and projects. Now, every 4, I think, research levels you go up in any one of these, or all of them mixed, actually gives you an insight. Now, those can be used to actually upgrade one of these an extra level without having to research it, or it can be used for projects which actually unlock special equipment like shields and things. So that's quite a cool way of spicing up the research tree. Now our scout actually is now finished, and let's have a look at exploring a system over here. I don't. Ooh, yes, I do, and he has a hyperdrive. So instead of actually going that way, we'll use the hyperdrive, which is our ship's special ability to travel between the stars a lot quicker. As you can see, you've got a build up of FTL crystals, and every time I use a hyperdrive or hyper jump, basically it uses a certain amount of crystals depending on how far the jump is. Special effects in this are lovely. See, once they jump out, a lovely sparkle of explosions kind of thing. Now down here we've got also our negotiation panel, so we can use different cards, so we can negotiate with people, we can denounce them, negotiate again. And United Research Centre, so I'm presuming that brings a couple of us together to research or build a research centre that helps us all. As you can see, as you get closer, you actually kind of search and find more systems, and then poof, beautiful little effect, and we're now in system. We've actually got a comet. Oh, we've got a couple comets, some more asteroids. We've got a couple planets. Apparently this phaseoid is supposed to be good for research. That's cool. Don't know whether we actually need to be a level to unlock it. And salts. Salts is considered a food, apparently. Interesting. So now that we've explored that system, it's actually a twin star system, which is kind of cool. Now we've explored that, we can actually colonise it. So let's colonise. Yeah, let's colonise this one. 2.4 minutes to colonisation, which is cool. Gives you a nice look. Oh, Comets generate water, adds a native water resource on the targeted planet. So what, how do you know which planets it's targeted at, I wonder? Can't seem to select it, or if I can. Oh, I can add it. Add a native resource on the targeted planet. Interesting. So that uses energy of 300. How much energy do we have at the moment? Don't think we have any. I've noticed you do get these sorts of things because in a tutorial we actually had a little power sphere orbiting the system, and you could, for a cost of energy, you could actually attach that to a fleet, and that actually made the fleet more powerful. It gave them like a boost to their offensive abilities, which was really cool. But apparently, if obviously the fleet is destroyed, then that has a chance of either being destroyed, the power source, or dropped for the opponent to use and pick up, which could make fleet battles quite useful. Actually, withdrawing your fleet if they've got a power source attached to them could be more useful than winning the battle in some occasions. Let's have a look through some more of these. We've got obviously the design. Now, this is actually the biggest change with the game. Instead of with the original you had like an open design, you actually had like not really a ship but an open circle where you placed whatever you wanted. In this you actually have a design to stick to. You can choose from different types of ships. They can have different, I mean obviously you've got flagships, but you've also got support. I'll show you what that does in a minute. But obviously you can choose different sizes. You can add armor to them as you would expect. You can add weapons, missile launchers, whatever you'd like, and it all just works. Obviously down the side you've got how much command ability it needs, so they do need some command. There we go. And then combat supply, not really good combat supply, so like if we add, we're going to need some rocket engines in the way, aren't we? I don't seem to have an option for power, which is interesting. Wonder how it generates power. Cruiser minimum requires minimum size 4. Cannot place armor on this tool type. Okay, interesting. Obviously are some issues to work out. Interesting that it kind of just links them rather than having several pictures. You just kind of get the same colour, which is cool. I don't get this. Hull requires minimum size 4. Okay. So obviously the size is still here, but I'm still not getting the power option. Maybe that's just a bug, I don't know. But yeah, that's kind of how the game really works at the moment. I don't know why it won't let me. Oh. Maybe it just didn't like where I placed them before. Yeah, it's definitely different. I don't know whether I like it. I definitely think the original game had an issue with the open design because I loved it, but at the same time it was rather awkward. It didn't really give any shape to the ships, whereas these obviously have a lot better shapes. They actually have a shape, which is cool. Obviously you can edit any of them or create your own. Let's go back here because I think we've probably finished colonising that world now. We have indeed. And let's get you to colonise the water world. And while we're at it, we'll get you to colonise that one as well. So, what should we show you next? I'll tell you what, we'll show you building a fleet, because actually that's one of the cool things in this that I really liked. It's actually very different. So if we build a capital ship, which is one of these here, let's build a battleship because it doesn't take a lot of time. It is only one click, so for those people who are wondering why I'm not double clicking, if you do that you actually get 2 ships up on the list, which is a bit of a pain in the ass when you're used to double clicking, but it just takes a bit of getting used to. Now the beauty of this is basically fleet ships or kind of flagships can have support vessels. So instead of building vessels separately and creating your own fleets, you can just use a support vessel, or a flag vessel, and just create a fleet underneath that ship. So as you've got the battleship selected, we can actually create a bunch of extra ships. We should be able to anyway, unless the battleship isn't quite what we think it is. Let's try building a dreadnought just after that. There we go. We can build a bunch of missile boats. So it starts off at 10 missile boats per click, and where it's red we can't actually afford it. Where it's yellow we can actually borrow money from next time's budget, which is interesting, but you do have to pay a kind of extra bit of money on top of that, so it's not always wise, depending on how much you need to borrow. Let's build 10 gunships on top of that. And the cool thing with that actually is, while the flagship is building, it's building its support vessels alongside it. So it's already got 5 of the missile fleets done for the Dreadnought that hasn't even started construction, which is actually quite cool actually. So once that's out, I'll show you a bit more with the fleet. Let's have a look now. Just starting to colonise the water world. Let's tell you what, let's jump to this other planet down here. As you can see, he's going to start charging these particles and moving through hyperspace. Oh, our budget's going to be minus next month. That's not good. Fortunately, I need to expand to make more money. So let's actually build and export parasites over to the home world. That should help with our research. And we're getting 3 research per minute. How wonderful. Has it got an ETA actually? It's got, oh, ETA 4 minutes. I've noticed a lot of things in this actually have ETAs. So you know, when you're colonising a world, you can actually see all the colonisation. Let's have a look. Let's have that one. The colonisation actually has a ETA of 4.5 minutes, which is quite cool actually, I think, because it gives you an idea of what kind of time scale you're working to. So that's going to be 60 FDL crystals. It's wonderful being able to jump with scouts between systems. It's so much quicker. Influence, we've got an overload of influence apparently. Let's have a look at the diplomacy screen. So obviously these are the other 2 empires we currently know about. And these basically are cards on the table. So at the moment we have we can annex planets and we can negotiate, and we have 10 negotiates. And that's actually what you use during the Senate debates. Now these cards are actually open to all empires. We have to spend our influence to buy them actually. So let's have a look at this one. Enhanced renews efforts to gain diplomatic advantage have benefited our position, letting us put more strength behind certain diplomatic manoeuvres. So the actual diplomatic side of this game is actually far expanded over the original, which was fairly non-existent. The people pull that line for too long. Pirates invaded certain asteroids. What more will it take for them to take up arms for their own sake? Now it's time to act. So that basically inspires the population of the planet to rise up on their own militia for their defence. Restores 5 loyalty and creates 25 labour worth of defence ships. Each additional qualifier increases the amount of defence ships created. Interesting. I'll tell you what, we'll buy the negotiations. We'll get 2 of them because that's always useful. As you can see, every minute these swap around. They do become apparently cheaper the longer they're here, but obviously the more the enemy can get them before you. Attaching is seemingly furious at the moment to our Galactic Senate proposition. We secure ourselves a way to take advantage of its passing for political capital. That obviously helps you there. By doing certain favours about looking at figures, we have gained some political capital use. Granting these favours does not come cheap, however. You must immediately gain 1 completely random action. This action does not cost influence to purchase, but takes money from your budget. Interesting. So that actually costs us 400,000 to buy rather than influence. And obviously once you've got your cards here, you can either use them here, you can see what's actually active at the moment, or you can just go back to the main menu and you can use them down the side over here. I think these are actually the ones that are up for grabs at the moment. Okay, these 2 are done. So what we can do now is add 1 research production per 5 billion population. So let's export food to our homeworld, and once that's done, bingo, level 2. Now what the levels do, not just by allowing you to obviously research and build more buildings and ships and obviously gather more resources, but what it also does is it expands your population. So as you can see, we did have 3, we had 4 because of our grain. It actually gives us an overpopulation of 1, but now we actually have 8, so we should be able to gain a population of 9 thanks to the grain's overpopulation ability. So that's actually how you kind of increase the population. It's very different to anything I've played before. Normally it's kind of building up the kind of economy or the infrastructure of a planet, making sure it's all balanced, and then exporting any excess goods, which can, I admit, get complicated. Whereas this is actually a new way of doing things, and it actually works quite nicely, I think. I quite like the way it works, because it's just something different, really. So water doesn't actually need to go home because, well, it doesn't need to. So I'm wondering whether we could export water to here. Nope, we're still going to need food because they're exporting their food supply. So I'll tell you what, if we export food over to here, and then we can colonize this planet in a second, and that should help a little bit. There we go. And then we can have another level 1 planet, which obviously helps and gives us the ability to have a bit more population. And of course, more population means more taxes, which is always a wonderful thing. So our fleet is actually ready. Our battleship. Our dreadnought is a couple of seconds from creation. So I should hopefully, I mean, it says this is a support vessel, or it's supposed to be. And let's check our designs tab. Create new design, and the battleship is a flagship apparently. I don't know why then that battleship can't have any support ships. Interesting. Maybe it doesn't have the components to, because I haven't researched them or something. There we go. Beautiful expansion of ships. So as you can see, this dreadnought here actually just has its own little support fleet. So instead of building support ships separately, fleets are usually built with a capital ship at the centre of its heart, and then support ships are built around it. So as you can see, we can, that's sent our budget gone haywire. We can actually build more ships and add them till our capacity, which is 94 at the moment, is full. So you can have several hundred ships in each fleet, and they would all move as one, which is actually really cool. As you can see, we can move that, we can hyper them around, we can send them into combat, and they'll all fight as one being, which is really useful sometimes. It's a lot better than the original fleet's manoeuvres. I have to admit, the guys behind this Blind Mind Studios, I think it was, from the original game, have really outdone themselves with this game, because even though it's early access, it just feels so much better and so much more enhanced than the first game. It's almost as if they took all the advice from gamers and modders and anybody who used the original game and built right on top of it, which is wonderful. We actually have an Empire 3 investigates the Empire 2. Oh, it's a Senate debate. So we're asking whether Empire 3 should be allowed to investigate Empire 2. I'm wondering why that is. So as you can see, this is built on a 3-minute timer. If it's equal, then it seems to go to minus, which as soon as after 3 minutes of minus, that the whole thing fails basically. If, however, whoever's trying to petition this can get it up to 3 minutes of positive time, whereas where their politicians are actually winning the debate, then they actually win, and that policy or whatever it is goes through. So as you can see, they're about to lose this unless they add some more negotiation points. Well, these guys aren't. These guys are about to lose it because they're trying to investigate them for some reason. As I said, you can actually kind of carry on with your game. You can even speed the game up and then go straight back. And as you can see, it's sped up the timer on that, which is actually really cool. It means you don't have to kind of be stuck in here for 3 minutes. You can just carry on and switch between different panels, different switches. It's just so fluid. It's incredible. There we go. We've got our level 1 planet, and now they have a population of 1 with a possible population of 3, which is wonderful. So I guess it's now time to start colonising other planets. I have noticed, which is different, I think, from Sins of the Solar Empire and things, there is no limit on the planets you can colonise. It seems like every planet is colonisable, which is a little bit weird. I would expect there to be certain planets like gas giants, obviously, and desert planets or icy planets that you may need to do some research to colonise beforehand, but not in this apparently. This just allows you to colonise everything. Whether that will change later on, I don't know. Our research has finished in metallurgy, so let's get our research onto military science. It's interesting actually, now that we've done one level in this has actually gone up, the cost, so that's kind of cool. And as you can see, we've actually got some projects down here. We can do some low gravity smelting for our industry, factory labour production +4, but that requires us to have a labour insight, and we haven't got any insights at the moment. So you actually spend them on projects, and that gives you a massive boost. I mean, that 100% health, 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 100% health So armor, so that's 100% health on every ship, I presume. That could be incredibly useful. That double the health point on every ship you've got. That could really turn the tide of the game. That could. So this is actually we need a level 1 planet to produce the deuterium. Interesting. So let's actually colonize the food planet, and then colonize the water planet, and then from there we can go on and hopefully colonize another planet and get on with it. So I'm still not producing any energy apparently. So it says +9. Energy is used to activate abilities on artifacts found across the galaxy. Yeah, available energy 1. So I'm wondering where I just started getting that energy from. Interesting. We still have a load more cards. Money gained. Backroom deals with certain powerful civilian figures have gained you significant chunks of spending money. You will receive the money immediately on purchases of this action. Things like that I presume are just there for emergency purposes. But we can actually now build up our support fleet a little. Let's have 10 beam ships. That's going to cost us 151,000. And what else do we not have? We don't have any heavy gunships, but I think they're going to cost us, yeah, we're going to get 3 for 81,000, but since our budget's about to run out. Now the weird thing with this game, actually, with the budget system, is the budgets actually disappear. Now, you can choose, obviously, where you can send it, I think. Converts each 350k unspent budget to influence generations. You can do it on power, so obviously this directs where you want civilian power to go. So at the moment we're putting it on influence, which is why probably we've got a massive influence over bundle. If we actually start putting it towards, let's put it towards power, because I think we could do with a bit of extra power. It'll be interesting to see how that progresses. Don't know whether I'm going to get to show you combat at the moment. Combat actually works quite nicely as well, which is a shame. Yeah, we're building those ships still. This is actually going to be quite a long video because it's not a simple game. It's a lot simpler than it was, but as you can see we've got little messages down the side. But it's still not completely and utterly simple, which is thankfully fucking fantastic. Nobody ever wants a completely and utterly simple game. Whatever they say. 50. Now I could certainly understand this FTL energy running out a lot quicker. I mean, you're supposed to be able to find planets which can produce FTL crystals, because I could imagine with the build up of that, if you're moving several fleets at a time, that could be gone. You know, it's 50 or 60 FTL crystals per jump, and you know you might be jumping, you know, a couple of systems, or you might have several fleets jumping. That could really kill your crystal builder, which is cool. I don't know what I'm going to do with this battleship at the moment. Anyway, I can kind of refit it, maybe retrofit it with some cool stuff. I don't know. Can't add it to this. No, I can move it to it. Obviously, the right click system is still in place. As you can see, we've just finished colonising that world, and we're going to now start colonising this world. Oh my goodness God! What's going on here? Maybe we will get to show you some combat, but against those sorts of fleets I don't particularly fancy some combat. These are some big fleets. Ooh, most of them are gunships, missile boats, heavy gunships, yeah. There's some nasty stuff here. I have noticed that planets don't, or ships don't really react to our presence very much, which is weird, but ooh, research data. Ooh. So this system actually must be colonized then, no? Doesn't look like it, but I don't know who would build a research data post in the middle of nowhere. That's an ancient shipyard guided by an Ixion. I don't like the look of that. That looks nasty. And I was about to pick on this one as well because it's all on its own. It's got tons of crew quarters, loads of rocket launchers, loads of really advanced engines, by the looks of it, plate armour, all over the bloody thing. I'm thinking our bets are probably best against this thing, as long as that research centre doesn't have any weapons. Let's quickly arm this and I'll show you some combat, even if I have to lose it, just so you can kind of have a idea on combat. I can't actually have any more ships. Oh, bollocks. Let's let's have our battleship in there as well. We may as well make use of it. So let's go in and see if we can kick some ass. So you can actually jump straight into combat, which is wonderful, but I'm going to jump just slightly out so that we can hit them on the sides without drawing too much fire. Hopefully we can pick up a couple of targets before that happens. As you can see, we're getting ready to jump. The whole fleet's going to jump. Boom. As you can see, the whole thing is a lot fancier than the original. Just a lot more colourful, which is a lot better. The original, I must admit, was a little bit drab, if I have to be honest. I like the fact that if you're jumping together, it doesn't actually take that much more crystals, because obviously it's jumping together as a one jump gate or one hyper jump, rather than if you jump. I mean, as you've seen with the scout, that can use 50 or 60 crystals on its own, but this fleet's only used about the same. So that's kind of cool. It means the more ships you jump together doesn't necessarily cost you more in the FTL crystal area. We've got 18 power per minute there, so that's definitely helping. Let's see if we can hurt these bastards before we die. There we go. Lots of lasers, lots of missiles. Oh, I'm about to lose a missile boat. Not taking a hit, but we're getting through. Beam ships is about to go down, but I don't know how many ships we've still got left. How many we've got left? Oh, we're not doing too bad. We're losing a lot of missile boats, but we're actually doing all right. As you can see, you can see all the little kind of. What's interesting, that battleships adding support from long range. Oh, just took a hit to our bow and took out some of her armaments, some armor plating there. Certainly a lot glorified over the original, which is cool. A lot of things have just improved. I'm actually quite shocked. I actually bought this. I was tempted to ask the developers for a review copy, because the point now, we're actually getting quite a lot of review copies of games, and I do try and point that out in our videos, but this is just one of my all-time favourite 4X games, so I just had to buy it and support the devs. They are a fantastic group of people creating some wonderful games, and as you can see, this is the next evolution of Star Ruler, and I just have to admit, it is working so well. It's just a pleasure and enjoyment to play, even at the early access point, which is something that not many games can really say. So with that, I'm going to say thank you guys for joining me, ladies and gentlemen, and I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope that this has been informative. If you've got any questions for me, please put them in the comments below, and I'll do my best to help you out and help you through any questions you might have on this game. Thank you for joining me, and good day, sirs and ladies.